Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Antoinette, can I get a roll call?
Mr. Cook?
Here.
Mr. D'Andriano?
Here.
Mr. Rogan?
Here.
Ms. Smith? Here. Mr. Williams?
Here. Somebody like to audit the bills?
I will make a motion that the town board approve abstract number 3, dated February 14th, 2019, in the amount of $1,103,774.17, of which $873,583 went to the library for this year's budget. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
As everybody can see, we changed up the agenda a little bit. We decided to put budget transfers on so we don't get caught again. Somebody like to do some budget transfers?
I will make a motion to approve. We have budget request number 67, which is necessary to reallocate funds to the sanitation contractual account for year-end charges for heating oil. So we will move $526 from within sanitation contractual. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I'll get there.
That's all right. And then we have budget adjustment request number 3 for 2019 budget. This is an adjustment necessary to carry forward remaining budget allocations for the Putt Lake Park Gate project and the EMS building project. We are increasing the fund balance designated capital projects by $101,190.01 and increasing ambulance equipment capital outlay and special services for Putnam Lake Carp Gate to include that amount. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, as everybody is aware, I believe, or if you're not, we had a member of our community who has been very involved in the Patterson Fire Department, has been very involved in the Putnam Lake Park District on our Park District Board, who many people refer to as Mr. Putnam Lake, run into some medical issues. The fire department is seeking to have a fundraiser for this individual, Michael Aircole, on March 10th, and they are having a breakfast on March 10th from 9 to 12 o'clock. They initially were going to have the event at the firehouse. However, the response from the community has been somewhat overwhelming. So I did reach out and talk to them and suggested that they move the event to the rec center, which they agreed to wholeheartedly. And there's typically a fee for using the back room at the rec center. That fee is $270, but because this is for a valued member of our community who's done so much for the charitable organizations and the committees within our community, I am asking the town board to waive the fee for the use of the rec center in the amount of $270. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So everybody is aware, I talked to Russ Goff, who has promised that he would have the auxiliary parking area open as much as we possibly can given the weather, and I've also confirmed with Carmel Schools who they are more than willing to loan us their parking lots for the day. So hopefully it's going to be a great event.
Excellent.
All right, next on my agenda is discussion on shared services. February 15th, I attended a shared services meeting at the county with my fellow supervisors. I just want to keep the board up to speed on what we're looking at. We talked about basically 3 separate issues. The first is a favor to Mr. Goff's plow up, plow down. They gave us actually some sample contracts, one of which I have included for the board, to review, on sharing plowing services. The general discussion centered on how we were going to evaluate this proposal further. Basically, it comes down to a specialization of services where the town is taking on certain aspects of road maintenance and the county would be taking on some of our responsibilities. And it's the opinion of the supervisors and the county that we need to hire a consultant to further evaluate this. We're going to have a good product for a potential shared service going forward. I know there's a lot of reservations on the part of our highway superintendents across the county. We need to convince them that this is the right thing to do, and everyone else, if it is the right thing to do. So we are at this point looking to scope out a RFP for seeking a consultant and put that out. We're also, we had a good discussion on the shared purchasing. The county's looking for a list of all our annual bids that we put out. I'm working on providing that list to them so that we can see where there may be some opportunity for shared purchasing. And finally, the big topic was the e-waste. As everybody knows, the county had a contract with a vendor to provide e-waste at no charge to the local municipalities as of December 1st. The contractor had notified all of us that they were no longer going to be providing that service free of charge. And we are currently talking about the county putting out a single bid for the towns to see if we can get a cost savings. As an interim measure, the individual towns have put out a request to 3 different vendors. We all have put out individual requests to get pricing. I've received prices back from 2 of those vendors. One was a 35 cents a pound. The other one was approximately 25 cents per pound. It varied based on the unit that we're talking about for disposal of our e-waste. When I get the 3rd one back, then I'll be back at the town board to talk to you about maybe selecting one of those vendors on an interim basis till we can get things worked out with the county. Now, the county is willing to put out a single RFP for all the municipalities. However, the county, the current vendor is still offering the county free service for getting rid of the county waste. And since the county doesn't really generate any waste from the public, that's not really an issue for anyone. So the RFP sponsored by the county would be just for the 6 towns. And I think that pretty much covers that.
Any idea?
Oh, 2 more things. Go ahead.
Any idea when the county is going to move to?
They should have the bid ready to go out, the RFP ready to go out probably the end of March. And it'll be probably end of, he said he was going to put it out for just a short time. So it'll probably be the end of April till we get the results back in. The county also provided, because they've been tracking it, the 3-year average for the town of Patterson for e-waste is 21,000 pounds a year. At 25 cents a pound, that would mean that we would need to budget $5,100 to cover the cost of providing e-waste to our residents. A lot of that's offset by the charges that we are currently passing on for disposal of e-waste. Okay. 3rd item on my agenda is purchase of 4 new workstations for Town Hall. We're also looking to purchase a monitor. I've given the town board a memo. This is part of our annual upgrade to keep our computers current. I've been working with the Dell vendor, who has been always phenomenal in the past to work with. He seems to be a little off his game right now. So I don't have an exact quote, but this is based on, and I provided that to the board 3 months ago. We bought the exact same, we placed the exact same order with Dell, so there shouldn't be that much different, except for covering the cost of the additional RAM that we're going to need for the 2 computers that are replacing the 2 computers in the accounting department. So that being said, I would like to ask the board to approve the purchase of 4 new Dell workstations and 1 19-inch monitor for the sum of $4,000 and an amount not to exceed $850 to purchase a laptop for the highway department. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And that is it for me.
And I'm up. The first item on my agenda is the wastewater treatment. plant. They are looking to, they recently had another breakdown over there. We have a lot of breakdowns over there, don't we?
Well, it was a part that failed.
Oh, it's
So
a
we are
part that
constantly
failed.
replacing parts.
Okay, so we already have the part that needs to be replaced, but they're in need of install for the program, for the VFD. So Mr. Mays would like to have Allied Pollution be billed for the cost using the Armstrong Brothers Electric Company, and the amount for that repair would be $900. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the $900 repair for the VFD at the wastewater treatment plant. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next item on my agenda is a tax certiorari for Robert J. Demchuk and Melissa T. Cook. No relation, right?
No.
Good. Oh, hello, Melissa. How are you? Good. So, the total, so for the tax roll year of 2018, your original assessment was $1,425,000 and $1,425,000, and why am I saying this wrong? $1,425,000.
500.
500.
Yeah.
Sorry. And you're being reduced by $1,100,000.
No.
No.
Two. No.
Reduced to
Thank you.
$1,100,000. An amount of reduction of.
Mary almost fell out of her
the-
chair over there. Melissa was.
An amount of reduction for $325,500, which equates to a little over $3,000 a year. Is that accurate? Okay.
Putnam County portion.
Yeah, it's
Putnam
just
County
the town and
portion.
county tax.
Okay. All right, so I'll motion to enter this resolution into the record as though read for the settlement of the tax certiorari proceeding in the matter of Robert J. Demchuk and Melissa T. Cook. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Melissa, do you have anything you want to add? If you do, if you could approach the mic.
Thank you. Thanks for asking. We've spent 9 months and well over $7,000 in legal fees on this. The house has been on the market for a year, and it's now listed below $1 million, and we still have no offers. So this number of $1.1 million is still too high. But they wore me down. I have no more money to pay legal fees to go back to court or to hire an appraiser for $2,000 to go to court. The town attorney came back with a settlement offer of $1,050,000, which we thought was fine, but that was subject to us waiving refunds, and we're talking about $13,000 or $14,000, including the school tax. So then they said, well, no, it's worth 1.1, and it's the wrong number since the house won't even sell anywhere close to that. But there's nothing we can do at this point. So
Okay.
it's
Well, if
been
you feel it is unfair, we're coming up to grievance time again. You can file a.
Oh, you'll see me if the house hasn't
Okay.
been sold.
All right,
Yeah,
that's fair.
But it's been a very, very expensive process and not fair. So,
Okay.
thank you for asking.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, the next item on my agenda is the Putnam Lake Park District utility poles. We have a proposal for Danco Pole Line Construction to install one pole at Warren Beach and one pole at Jackson Beach. And for the total electrical work would be $1,250. So we'd have a total of $5,250 to be approved for these utility poles that we need to put on the beaches. So I'd like to make a motion to approve $5,250 to Danco, Paul E. Danco. So moved.
Wait a minute, $5,100?
Two for
No,
two
you're on
for
the-
each
Never mind.
pole.
So we're not doing Gary Prince. We're doing this because the two poles.
Okay.
So Gary Prince actually bid out just the two poles at $5,100. Danco did $2,000 a pole, it's $4,000.
Right.
But Danco is also proposing to switch over the electric meters
Okay.
from the broken pole to the good pole.
Swap the cabinet, light fixtures, and outlets from the old pole to the new pole.
All right. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Peter, you're up.
All right, first item on my agenda is a letter of resignation. So I have here a letter from Dusty Rothacker. After over 30 years as a member of the Patterson Veterans Memorial Park Advisory Board, I'll have to resign my position as I can no longer be an effective board member. This has been a great experience and have worked with many caring and concerned residents of the town. So I'd like to make a motion, unfortunately, to accept the resignation for Dusty Rothacker. So
Second, just a point of simple discussion. I'm sure Charlie will agree that Dusty was a fantastic member on the Veterans Park Advisory Board. Over the last several years, I've had the pleasure of working with him. He brings a great sense of responsibility to that position, and I'm sorry that he can't fulfill that role because he will be missed. So hopefully we'll find somebody to fill his shoes on that board. He always was involved in the discussions and how we would advance the planning for the future of the park. And I know that the board, I'm sure, is very disappointed in this, but we also have to respect that he has matters in his life that take precedence over the park issue. So it's unfortunate, but I thank him for all the years that he did provide to this town, all the years of service.
Would you like me to send him a certificate of acknowledgement for his years of service?
That would be
Absolutely.
very nice. Very nice.
As recommended by Mr. Cook?
Very good. Yes, I think so.
Save me the trouble of saying it.
All right. All in favor? Well, we don't have to
Well,
vote
you don't
on
have
it.
to,
We don't
but,
have to vote
yeah.
on it. Okay,
We could deny it, but it doesn't matter, right?
moving on.
Yeah.
Okay, next I have recreation requests and announcements. First, I have a memo from Matt Chavarro, the director of the Rec Center. I'm asking the board's approval for the Rec Center to work with the Patterson Library in hosting a one-night Nerf Wars event. This will take place on Tuesday, April 16th. There will be sessions 6 o'clock to 7 p.m. for those in the grades 3 through 5 and 7:30 through 9 for grades 6 through 9. There will be no entry fee. Pre-registration is required at the library. Pre-registration is required, and the library will be handling registrations for the event. Participants will sign a permission slip and a Town of Patterson waiver that appears on our registration forms. Participants will provide their own Nerf equipment and protective eye gear. Miss Jen from the library and several of her aides will be present for setup, sign-in, supervising, and cleanup, which reduces the number of staff we need to provide. The concession stand will be open during the event, which will generate some revenue, and we are planning this event as a springboard to a continuing Nerf program that we have in the works. So this is a joint effort with the Patterson Library, and it's going to be a one-night thing, and they're going to have a Nerf program down the line, and hopefully this will kind of springboard it and get it going. So it sounds like a lot of fun. They're going to set the gym up with different obstacles, and sounds pretty neat. So too bad we're not that age. I said they should do it for adults,
Absolutely.
but we were saying maybe the town board versus some of the employees or something like that. But it sounds like a lot of fun.
Just 1 second, Pete.
Yep.
I'd like to ask Sue if you don't mind contacting Matt, tell him make sure this is up on his website.
Sure.
Thank you.
So next I have our announcements. Does that need to be approved, or is that just an announcement?
I think it was just an announcement.
Okay.
No, that one asks for approval.
Yeah, there's nothing for approval.
Okay.
No.
So next, also we have a memo from the Patterson Rec Center. Patterson's for a bunch of things that's going on, a bunch of new things. Patterson Rec's new website has been launched. The web address remains www.pattersonrec.org. Patrons can now register and pay for programs online. In order to do this, an account must be set up, which includes each family member. So they can go online on the website and sign up for different programs, and I believe for the camp this summer, but they just have to go online and set up an account. This Friday, March 1st, is Game On, our new game night for those in grades 1 through 8. Next Friday, March 8th, is our high school game night. Both our drop-off programs run from 7 to 9 in the arcade. Admissions is $7 and reservations are requested either by phone or on the website. Saturday, March 9th is the next pizza night from 6 to 9 p.m. and is for all those in grades 1 through 8. Admissions for this drop-off program is $12 per person and includes a slice of pizza and a drink. Wednesday, March 13th at noon is the senior luncheon featuring a traditional St. Patrick's Day menu. Admission is $6 per person, reservation required, either by phone at 878-7200, or you can also register online as well. Please reserve by Thursday, March 7th. It's always a good lunch, good senior lunch.
That's great. Awesome.
And that is all I have.
Very good.
Done, Pete?
I am all finished.
Next, we have a memo from the Putnam Lake Fire Department that they have accepted a new member, Joseph Solomano. Am I saying that right, I hope? Of Patterson. And so I will make a motion that the town board approve Mr. Solomano's membership in the Putnam Lake Fire Department. So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next, we have Marble Quarry Lane Railroad Crossing, which is down by the rec center. We have asked them to review the request. It was the confusion between it being a private road and a
DOT currently.
government road.
Yep, declares it a private road, and yet the public is using it. So we're having it reclassified.
That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
They reclassify it, we don't have to bring it up to town road specs or anything, right?
We don't have to bring it up to town road specs, but as Russ knows, we do have to make some improvements. But most of the improvements that are going to be made will be made by Metro North.
Okay, thank you.
A representative from the New York State DOP, Donna Hentz, will be holding a public hearing here on March 21st at 11 a.m. with regard to this change, this request for change. So again, it'll be here in this boardroom, March 21st, 11 a.m. Anybody wants to come and make comments. And then after that, we will do a resolution to support.
No, we've already done that.
We have it?
The letter that you have in your packet was issued in error. I called her today when we received the letter and asked her if she had not gotten it, and she said, my second phone call, the DOT representative called her up and reminded her that it was page 14 of the application. So
Okay. Yeah, I remember we had discussed this previously. I wasn't sure just,
we did it
did
right.
we do something formal or agree to get them to come in and what have you, so, thank you.
Can we discussion on this just for a moment before
Sure.
we move on to the next topic? So they're having a public hearing at 11 a.m. on a weekday, presumably on a work day. But they'll accept written comment, of course. But
Yep.
it seems odd that all of our public hearings are held in the evening for the benefit of people to be able to be involved in the process. So I'm a little confused by that, but at least we want to make sure we get out there that people can put in written comment, because I would imagine there are people that are concerned with, you know, is this railroad crossing, it's great for safety, but is it going to increase noise in the area? Is there, you know, any issues? Are we going to have input into how that crossing is designed? I mean, it's not the same level as what we have right out front here, correct?
No, well, it could be, but we do have some input, but albeit minor input, into the overall design. We can request a quiet grade crossing, but it will be a guarded grade crossing.
Okay.
And that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to have the arms coming down, and possibly some shielded lights, no bells.
Thank you. Okay, that's kind of where I was going with it.
Yeah.
We can do it in
Well-
an appropriate way
So what type of traffic is going over these tracks?
to go to the environmental park to do launching kayaks and canoes and
Oh, okay.
Picnicking.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
No,
Our
right away, I
future
think about
boardwalk.
school buses, and
Yeah.
I'm saying, you know, a bus has to stop, they have to look and listen, so if we quiet the, you know, the bells down, we're losing opportunity to make sure it's a safe crossing.
So that's why I think it's important we all have at least some
Yeah.
input into it.
Mhm.
And eventually, when we put in the boardwalk into the swamp that we've been talking about, that's going to be an area that might generate some additional traffic, so.
Could be.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I'm done.
Sean, you're up.
Okay, the first item is the recreation center cleaning bids, which we did have been opened, the bids that we received. I'm going to ask to table this because we need to do a little bit of additional work on the, I guess you'd say, the responsibility of the bidders to make sure that they are able to meet the requirements of the contract. So I'll move to table.
Second.
All in favor?
Right.
Aye.
Thank you. Second item is something that we had asked Ron Gaynor, our town engineer, to do a proposal for an assessment, really, of the Alpine water system for storage, pumping, and treatment facilities. The board has a copy of Mr. Gaynor's report, and to basically summarize it, the system, we were talking about how old the system is. The system's been in operation since 1968, it says in his report. So it is reaching its useful, maybe I should say it's past its useful life expectancy. We got a lot of good years out of that system. And Mr. Gaynor has suggested numerous improvements that we're going to need to consider over the next, in the short term, over the next, say, year or two.
Correct.
And they are, in essence, a replacement of some of the significant components of that system, like the water storage tanks, the pumping facilities. And just to give an estimate of the cost, we're looking at possibly as much as $275,000 to that system. So we're going to be looking at sources of potential revenue for that and planning that out in an appropriate manner. As you see with a lot of the different items we've had on the agenda over the last couple of months with the sewage treatment facilities and the different water treatment facilities, these are hard when they come up, when they break. We'd obviously rather be in a position of planning for this and doing it in an appropriate manner. So the board should just know that that's on the horizon, that we'll be talking about and planning for that, especially when we get into budget season.
And so everybody is aware, I mean, this is not coming out as unbeknownst.
Correct.
We have been setting a little bit of money aside every year. So we do have a little bit of funding that we can throw at this right away.
All right, so now the next step is preparing a request for proposal? I mean, for somebody to come in and do this?
Well, what I've been doing is I've been looking for funding. I applied last year. We had this report done specifically so I could put an application in. Last September, that application wasn't successful. Hopefully they're going to change some of the criteria.
But do we have to wait for that, or can some of this work start?
No, the next step in the process would be to do a hard design on the improvements that we're going to make up there.
And
This is just a conceptual report. We would need to know the exact type of pumps and motors and the hydropneumatic tank that we're going to be putting in. And we would need to get that approved by the health department before we did anything.
Right, and who would do that, though, Rich?
We would hire an engineer to do that.
Okay. And I'd just like to compliment Mr. Gaynor. I think his report really, was clear, concise.
I like to have this concise.
Gave us a roadmap, to move, so, yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think that we should try to start this as soon as we can, within reason, so that...
We're going to have to do this within the next 2 years, one way or the other.
Right, so, okay.
Great.
Okay.
All right. Next item, executive session. I'll move to the end of the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that brings us down to other business. Any town board member have any other business they wish to bring up at this time? Say something about the MPs?
I think that would be great. Go right ahead.
There you go.
Oh, Thank you. You get the honor. We received, the town board received a letter from the Greg Gagliardo over in Hunt Lake. Chief Gagliardo, I'm sorry, Chief. And this is a great example of why this town board went out on a limb and took the risk we did to create this EMS service. The letter simply says, today at the motor vehicle accident, EMT Mike Zingone and EMT Brittany West showed everyone what emergency technicians are all about. Chief Gagliardo personally witnessed upon arrival their willingness to provide the best patient care without hesitation. As usual, these two EMTs handle every situation as they should and should be recognized for it. As an incident commander on scene witnessing these two get out of the ambulance, I know that the patient is always going to receive the best patient care possible. Right out of the gate, these two were laying next to the vehicle, talking to the patient, and finding the best way to remove the victim. The Putnam Lake Fire Department is always willing to work side by side with these two extravagant EMTs. Please let them know that they are noticed and that we appreciate everything they do for us and the community on a day-to-day basis. Thank you. And that was signed by Chief Greg Gagliardo. So thank you, Chief, for taking the time to recognize exceptional care and customer service. We certainly appreciate this, and I'm sure the community will appreciate knowing the level of care that our EMTs are providing. So I think that's fantastic. Really great.
Great job.
Thank you. Here.
Public recognition. Anybody from the audience wish to be heard on any matter?
George. It looks like a standoff here.
Standoff, yeah. Bruce Major, 166 Somerset. I noticed today, out on the roads, the brine that's being put down. I wonder if there's any studies as to whether the brining of the roads is having a negative impact on the ecology relative to the old sand and salt. And the reason why I ask is, when I was on 164, the bands were almost 2.5 inches wide and very white, which looks like there was a lot more salt. So my question really is, are there standards established by DOT as to the rate of salt brine that can be put on a road?
I don't know. This is probably better answered by Russ, but I don't know of any standards by DOT. The standards generally, I think, are coming out of Cornell. They have a fabulous road program up there.
Okay.
And there are studies showing that the use of brine actually reduces
I would hope so, but I
the
just...
amount of road salt that the highway departments are putting down.
Okay.
Now, I gotta say, that's gonna vary because a lot of highway departments now are using just pure salt. Russ, being very conscious of the environment, is still using a salt sand mix. So you've got the traction, he needs to use less road salt. But yeah, so there is a reduction in the amount of road salt that's being put down when you're using brine. Russ is also currently, and I'm sorry for speaking for you, Russ, but he's also looking in the next generation of brine, which includes adding a sticker base to it.
Good, okay. And Sean, I have a question for you. Back last year when we were talking about cell towers, you sort of agreed that the town should do some mapping so we get a sense of the coverage. I was wondering if the next month or two, maybe we could get a sense of where we are with that mapping?
Sure, but I'll certainly defer because I am not the mapping expert in the room.
Okay,
So I would
but the reason why I raise it to you is,
Yeah, that I
we
agree
were certainly
with that.
supportive at the town board
Sure.
meeting relative to that.
I would
Thank
still
you.
be supportive of it, but I don't think I would be the appropriate person to lead
Okay.
that project in
Thank
any
you.
way.
But maybe you can push it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm the one that needs to be pushed. Certainly, I need to go get a consultant, and I gotta tell you, with the new changes to the cell tower regulations imposed by the FCC, it's even more of a critical issue. So, they make it ever harder for municipalities to, say no where they think cell towers shouldn't be, if a cell company wants to come in and put it there.
It's always interesting, though, how we are becoming so reliant on our cell phones and all of our, internet connections and everything that we, everybody wants instant access to everything now. So it's funny how 15 years ago we were reviewing cell towers and they said, this gives us our coverage, we're done. Well, that was then and this is now, and it's unfortunately, you know, it does pain me to see the amount of cell towers that are being proposed, but I'm looking forward to the day when the technology is obsolete and we're using maybe satellite technology where we're not using these, but.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Verizon is rolling out a 5G network, and that is going to significantly increase the number of towers before we ever see technology that, you know, actually eliminates the need.
Yeah.
And the sad part is when the technology becomes obsolete, somebody's going to find a different use for those towers and they're never going to go away. It's the way it always works. So,
Yeah.
George?
George Hitzbrow from Tammany Hall Road and from the library. Any information that I'm going to throw out at you, and I'll keep it brief, can be accessed through the website or calling the library. And I just want to, I know it's been said before, but AARP is offering free tax consultations, and that goes up till April 12th. We don't want to push that limit too much. We have twice monthly computer and technology help. The other things very quickly, we're trying to set up as many programs for as adults, middle school kids, high schoolers, and elementary school kids. So some of the following programs, and you can get all the information from the website. In March, we have an Irish song and folk tales coming up. We also have a viewing of the most recent A Star is Born with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga, and beginning genealogy. I know that I've tried to do that, and I need to be in the beginning class. We also have a middle school and high school battle of the books, and for our youngsters we have, this will sound a little bit peculiar, a stuffed animal sleepover, where kids age 4 to 7 come in with their stuffed animal. They build one with them. They take the one that they build out, and they leave the one there at the library, and they come back on Saturday morning, and they find it all refreshed and safe. And so it's a stuffed animal sleepover. The kids come in their pajamas. But all that information can be found on the website or by calling the library. Thank you.
Thank you, George.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Motion to go into executive session?
Motion to go into executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming.